Good morning. Today we're going to talk about cube roots. And a perfect cube has three identical factors. We talked about square roots already, and a perfect square had two identical factors. So a cube root has three. When I say I want you to cube each number, what I mean is you are going to multiply that number by itself 3 times. So if I have 1, that's like saying 1 times 1 times 1, which I know is still 1. So when I cube, 1 cubed equals 1. Let's try one more together. So 2 cubed would be 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 2 cubed equals 8. Now take a minute and go through and fill in the rest of this table, and then come back to check your answers. Welcome back. Okay, so 3 cubed is 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. 4 cubed is 64. 5 cubed is 125. 6 cubed is 216. 7 cubed is 343. 8 cubed is 512. 9 cubed is 729. And 10 cubed is 1000. Hopefully you got all those answers. Remember, it's just the number times itself 3 times. Okay, the next step is to write the cube root. And if I'm looking down here, remembering my vocabulary that we just did, we have our radical symbol. Then the radicand is the number that's inside the symbol. And then the index tells me how many times my number had to be multiplied to get to my radicand. Okay, because this is cubed root, my index is going to be 3 for all of these. Okay, so the first one, I have to decide what number multiplied by itself 3 times is going to equal 125. And I know, if I look over here at my cube numbers, my number is going to be 5, because 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 equals 125. So the cube root of 125 equals 5. For the next one, I have my cube root of 27. Now this one, I know that if I multiply 3 times 3, it equals 9, which equals 9 times 3, which finally equals 27. So my cube root of 27 is going to be 3. So take a minute and fill out the rest of this column, and then come back and we'll check answers. Welcome back. So I'm sure a lot of you just looked over here to your part 1 so that you could plug in your answers. So the cube root of 8 is 2. Cube root of 512 is 8. Cube root of 1, that's an easy one. We know that's 1. Cube root of 1000 is 10. Cube root of 64 is 4. Cube root of 216 is 6. Cube root of 729 is 9. And cube root of 343 is 7. Okay. Part 3, we're looking at cube roots and square roots with fractions. Now I remember that when I have fractions and I have to find the square root, I have to find the square root of my numerator and the square root of my denominator. So as I look at this, I see I have 2 perfect squares, And there is no index here. And when there is not an index there, you're finding the square root. Okay, so my square root of 16 is 4, and I have my fraction bar, and my square root of 64 I know is 8. So 4/8, and then, as always, I need to simplify, which gives me, for my final answer, 1/2. Okay, take a minute and fill in the rest of this column, and when you have finished, come back to check your answers. I want you to notice, though, right here, this is cubed, so we're finding the cube root for the last two. Welcome back. Okay, so the next one, square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 225 is 15, which I am going to simplify to 3/5. Okay, the next one, you found the cube root of 64, which I know is 4. And the cube root of 216, which is 6. And again, I am going to simplify. Always have to simplify for my final answer of 2/3. Then I have the cube root of 27 over 729. So my cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of 729 is 9. Again, simplest form of 1/3. Okay, and the last section we're going to look at is equations. So, I have x squared equals I have x squared equals 49. I have to get the x by itself. It's not by itself, because x squared is the same as x times x. So what I would do here is say x is the square root of 49. In order to get my x squared, I have to use the inverse, which is my square root. And I know the square root of 49 equals 7. Okay, next one. X squared equals 25 over 36. Now again, I have to use my inverse of x squared, which is the square root. So the square root of x squared is just x. And then I have to find the square root of 25 over 36. And I know when I have a fraction, I'm finding my square root of my numerator and then my square root of my denominator. And here, square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6, which gives me my final answer of 5/6. Now, cube root. X cubed equals 729. Just like I had to find the square root, because it was the inverse, now I have to find the cube root. So, x cubed inverse gives me x equals the cube root, don't forget to put your 3 in your index, of 729. And I know from my first list that equals 9. Because 9 times 9 is 81, times 9 is 729. Okay, last one. X cubed equals 125 over 1,000. Now my inverse leaves me with x equals the cube root of 125 over 1,000. And I'm going to find the cube root of my numerator, which I know is 5. And the cube root of my denominator, which I know is 10. And then, not my final answer yet. I need to simplify to 1/5. And there you have it. Hope this helps.